The pubs are red, the Dems are blue, money is green, and the bills are due. So what do you do when the opposite party calls you to do political voiceovers? Do you turn purple? I'm Dane Reid, the voiceover guy. Let's talk about it. Check me out. So I'm a guy who loves politics. I'm a guy who was exposed to politics at a very, very young age when me and my family went to go see Congressman Major Owens' office in Washington, D.C. My dad and my uncle worked with Owens and became very good friends and very active in our community. And so politics has always been a big part of my family. We've always gotten into major debates, and we are very impassioned about political issues. And so as a voiceover talent, it's been very, very interesting, especially during a very divided and heated political season. It's tough to sometimes decide what I'm going to voice and what I'm not going to voice. So I recently released my political demo, and if you haven't checked that out, I'm gonna leave a link somewhere in the description. Click that, listen to it, send it to somebody else, and hopefully I'll get a whole bunch of political ads. I remember being at VO Atlanta a few years ago when David Goldberg presented. And one of the things that David said was, voice things that you're passionate about. And immediately I thought about two things. I thought about politics and I thought about travel, because everybody knows that I love doing those things. There have been issues that have been impossible for me to voice. There was a time that I was sent an ad for guns, and that was very hard for me to voice. At first, I was like, okay, I can do this. What's the big deal? But I realized that I couldn't act that part. I have known people who have been murdered. I've actually seen a lady be shot. And so violence is something that's really hard for me. And the tools of violence are really hard for me to stand up for. I started voicing it, and I had to email them back and say, hey, I can't do this. It's also really difficult for me to support a candidate that I don't believe in. Recently, I was asked to do an ad for a national figure who represents all the wrong things to me. And that's really tough. That's really tough. And I couldn't ask how much it paid, because people do some funny things when the money is right. And like I said, the bills are due. And I thought about it for a second. I said, nah. The candidate is a person who's incredibly divisive and who says things that are very downright racist towards minorities, Latinos, Blacks, women, and I just couldn't be the voice of that candidate. I understand that somebody's gonna be the voice of that candidate, and I know a African-American voiceover talent who voices both sides of the spectrum. And I called him and I said, hey, you're awesome at what you do, and they have this ad, and I wanted to know if you'd like to be put in the pot. And he said, yeah, sure. And I told him who it was, and he was like, ooh. You know, it's a hard thing to do when you just stand against certain things. There are people in the voiceover industry who will voice both Republican, Democrat, and I'll throw in the third parties in there as well. For me, I have to make the decision about what I can sleep with at night. When I voice those things, they have to represent who I am, so I can genuinely not be acting when I'm on the mic. I can be impassioned. Anyway, regardless of where you stand on this point, election day is coming up in November 2020, and there's a lot at stake. And you can be part of the system or you can be apart from the system. But either way, decisions will be made. And The decision for you is whether or not you're going to participate, whether or not you're going to promote, or whether or not you're going to have those decisions made for you. As for me and my family, we participate. I'm Dane Reid, the voiceover guy, and I'll check you out later. Peace.